Finally, we have a win for the little guy. As you see in the article, Burger King, they lost a legal battle for trademark infringement against a restaurant called Pune Eatery. Now, this is a restaurant that's over in India, and Burger King actually sued this company over in India. We will kind of take a look at the article and glean some points from this one, but this is a big one because typically, if you are familiar with my channel and the cases that we've been talking about, the little guy been getting stumped on pretty much. Talking about Nike, no pun intended, Chanel, Christian Dior, a lot of these big companies, and they come after the little guy often for trademark infringement, patent infringement, copyright infringement, and unfortunately, they typically win. But in this case, it seems like it's a victory for the little guy. If you guys don't know who I am Dave, a 10-year intellectual property attorney dealing with everything from patents, trademarks, copyrights, and trade secrets. Please hit a like if you like this type of content and hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. Now, yeah, we're going to take a look at this article and let's see what we can get out of it. I haven't been to Burger King in a long time. You guys have to let me know in the comment section. You guys still go to Burger King? Typically, man, my go-to burger restaurant, if you can call it that, is Chick-fil-A. Man, back in high school, I used to love them Hershey's pies and them double stacks. They had the bacon on it. Those joints are sweet. I'm not sure if they have the Hershey's pie and the double stacks anymore, but that's essentially that was my go-to back in the day. So let's get to the article. So Pune District Judge, which again, this took place in India. So I'm going to say India as opposed to Pune or Pune. I'm not sure how you pronounce that, but we are talking about a judge over in India just a few days ago said that the city-based eatery Burger King was operating even before the U.S. burger joint opened shop in India, that the letter failed to prove that the local food outlet had infringed its trademark. So let me kind of paint a picture as we get off into this article for what's happening. So you already had this restaurant that was called the Burger King, and it had a crown on top of a burger, I think. It was already operating since 1992. Now, the article doesn't say whether or not it actually filed for a trademark infringement, but it was at least operating in India since 1992. Then you have Burger King, as we all know, the fast food, the burger giant, came over and started operating its burger joint in India, or at least in this particular region of India, as of 2014. So 22 years later, after the Indian restaurant was already in existence. And what does Burger King do? What does the big Burger King do after a while? It slaps the little guy with the lawsuit. Now that's interesting because in the U.S., I don't think they would have never did that because you have common law rights, and it seems like India has maybe a version of it, even though it has a version of common law rights where even if you don't have a trademark filed, now if the Indian restaurant, if they filed for a trademark on Burger King back in 1992, you can file for a trademark in India. I actually file a lot of patents in India with the Indian Patent Office. And I know they have, you can file a trademark there. But if the Indian Burger King restaurant would have filed back in 1992 when it opened, this not only would have been a done deal, Burger King actually probably would have not even been able to go in India with his burger joint. Again, you have to keep in mind when you're filing this trademark stuff, just because you file in one country, that doesn't give you rights in another country. So obviously we know Burger King has a ton of trademarks here in the US. That doesn't give them any right whatsoever in India. Not only do they have to file for a trademark in India, but they actually have to operate their burger restaurant in India. You can't just file for a trademark in India and then just set on a trademark. Trademark law is not like that. They want you to actually be using the trademark in whatever country that you're looking for protection in. So just because Burger King, the big Burger King restaurant, has trademarked in the U.S., that gives them no right in India. So to the extent that the Indian restaurant, if they would have filed back in 1992, they could have prevented Burger King from coming into their restaurant or coming into their country at all. And that's why I'm saying it's important to file for these trademarks, because you don't know what's going to come down the line, especially if you're already operating your business. To the extent that you can get a registered trademark, you should definitely get it. Now, obviously, you can't get a registered trademark all the time, but if you can get a registered trademark, you might as well get it, because at some point someone is going to come along that's going to have the same name or maybe the same logo, and they're going to operate or try to file for trademark protection. And if you have it already, then you're good to go. So you have this company, the burger company in India. It's operating since 1992. It seems like it doesn't file for a trademark, but then in 2014, the big Burger King restaurant comes and starts operating, and then it ultimately slaps the little company with a lawsuit, with a trademark lawsuit to say, hey, we want you to stop using your name. And essentially, as we continue to read this article, that doesn't work. So let's see why it didn't work. The court dismissed the 2011 lawsuit. So it seems like it filed by Burger King. That's interesting and filed. So it seems like I think Burger King came into India before 2014, but it came into that particular region in 2014. So see, the court dismissed the 2011 lawsuit filed by the Burger King Corporation seeking a permanent injunction restraining infringement of trademark, passing off the trademark as theirs, as well as the monetary damages. So it seems like the big Burger King sued the little Burger King, is what I'll call it, in India for not only trademark infringement to prevent them from using the trademark, but they also sued them for money damages. That's kind of messed up, man. Just think about that. You've been operating this company for 1992, since 1992, and all of a sudden somebody comes in 2011, so what, 19 years, and tell you have to stop at least using your name? That's BS. But again, trademark law in the US, you wouldn't be able to do that if you weren't operating, because common law rights, you would have been okay. Now, you couldn't expand, but you would have still been able to use your mark. But to the extent that Burger King would have filed, the big Burger King would have filed in India before 1992, then the little guy at that point would have been screwed over at that point. So let's continue with the article. The suit filed against I'm not even going to try to pronounce those names, but Irani, seems like it was two co-owners, also sought. It seems like, I'm not sure the Indian their I guess their currency, but the IAC, as damages on the plaintiff company's demand for a permanent injunction. The court said that the Burger King Corporation started to provide services through restaurants under its trademarks, Burger King in India, particularly in 2014, which that's crazy, because how can you sue somebody in 2011 and you didn't even start using it until 2014? How disrespectful is that? That's wild. But anyway, whereas the city-based eatery was using a trademark Burger King to provide restaurant services in 1991 and 1992. And again, you can get a trademark in India. I have gotten tons of patents in India. So that is a city that you can get this IP protected in outside the US. But I'm assuming that the little Burger King didn't have a trademark, because if they would have had a registered trademark, then we're not even in this situation. So just kind of the way this fact pattern is set up lets me believe that they were using it. The little Burger King was using the word Burger King, but they didn't have it filed as a registered trademark. Let's continue going. Defendants have been using a trade name for the restaurant since 92. The pleadings put forth by the plaintiff are totally silent about how customers have been confused due to use of the trademark Burger King by defendants to their restaurant. So again, I'm going to skip that, because you do have to file likelihood of confusion. But again, if your name is the same, it's going to be likelihood of confusion. But it seems like the Indian court was not persuaded by the big Burger King's arguments. The court said that the Burger King Corporation has miserably failed to prove that the eatery here had infringed its trademark Burger King while running a restaurant in Pune. It seems like Pune is maybe a country, or a city within India. And again, to be honest with you, I'm still boggled over the fact that you can sue somebody for trademark infringement 3 years before you actually even use a trademark in India. That's different. That's interesting. But anyway, since there was absolutely no evidence regarding proof of infringement of the big Burger King trademark and actual damages caused to it, the company was not entitled for any of its damages. Case dismissed, you lose essentially. Thus, in the absence of cogent evidence, I find that the plaintiff is not entitled for damages, rendition of accounts, and the relief of perpetual injunction. The judge says the plaintiff first Indian Burger King restaurant was opened in New Delhi on November 9th of 2014. So it seems like Burger King opened up a restaurant in New Delhi, India in 2014. Obviously, we know, I guess I didn't realize that the Burger King had been open since 1954. It started in 1954. It managed and operates worldwide a chain of 13,000 food restaurants. That's crazy. They got a ton of restaurants. Hey, man, you can say what you want about Burger King, but you got 13 restaurants in 100 countries. You making some money. The first Burger King franchise restaurant in Asia was opened in 1982. I wonder if Burger King is that a a U.S. originated company? Because it seems like they're saying, okay, 54. So yeah, maybe it is. And so if they were operating since 54, yeah, I would imagine that they were in the U.S. and then they didn't open in Asia until 1982. There are more than 1,200 of these restaurants in Asia. That's crazy. The company have been used. So pretty much what they're saying is, hey, what the reason for this is Burger King is trying to say, hey, Asia, they're trying to claim their trademark protection in Asia, which is a continent. They're trying to say that as a result of us using our trademark in Asia, which has over 1,200 restaurants, then it essentially extended to protection in India, and the court seemed like it wasn't buying it. That's pretty much what the whole part of this argument was. The fact that they're saying, hey, we opened in 1982, we have 1,200 restaurants. So they're trying to say, okay, yeah, the little Burger King in India was opened in 1992, but we've been operating in Asia, the continent, since the little Burger King restaurant opened in India in 1992, but we've been operating in India or in Asia since 1982, 10 years earlier. Again, I think that was a poor argument. Again, trademark rights are really by country. You can't say, okay, that's like coming to the U.S. and say, or suing somebody in Mexico and say, hey, we've been operating since in North America since 1954, and therefore Mexico or Canada, essentially they should have known, or that's trademark infringement. No, if you want to trademark in Mexico, file for it in Mexico. If you want to trademark in Canada, file for it in Canada. You can't try to get like continent trademark rights. That was a terrible argument, in my opinion, by Burger King. The company has been using the trademark Burger King since 1954 and is known globally. I would agree with that. The company said that the high quality of its products and services, I guess that's debatable. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So what do you guys think, man? I think this is a win for the little guy, which again, the little guy, if you follow my channel, they been getting crushed lately, even though I think and Walmart seems like it's going to win. I did that live. Go check that one out. Seems like they're going to win against a little guy. But hey, man, if you want to protect your trademark, you have to file for protection. And that's to the extent that you can get it. Not all trademarks are protectable. You have to have a suggestive, arbitrary, fanciful mark. If it's descriptive, it can be trademarked. If it's a generic mark, you're probably not going to get a trademark on that. But to the extent that you can get a registered trademark, not only register it, but register it in the countries that you're looking to go into. So, if you're in U.S., obviously you go to the U.S. If you're thinking about opening up a restaurant in Canada, then file for your trademark protection in Canada. Don't think that the U.S. trademark is going to protect you in Canada. That's not how that works. And on the flip side of things, if you're getting bullied by somebody such as a big corporation, and you've already been using your mark way before they even came into your jurisdiction, came into your country, don't worry about it. You will be okay. Again, it seems like India, they had this common law rights that most of the world, man, we think of the world as being a big place, but most of the world the trademark laws are very similar. Seems like India, you had this common law right that benefited the small company. It's common law rights are big here in the U.S., where if you don't file for a trademark, but you've been operating your business, within that particular industry, then somebody can't just come in, file for a registration, and have you stop using your name. Now they can prevent you from expanding, but they can't stop you from using your name, and having to do a name change or even close down business. That's not how that works. You still have common law rights essentially. So again, hopefully you enjoyed the video. Hopefully you got some education, some nuggets out of it. Again, I'm trying to give you guys this value. And again, I think this was a good one that I was reading and came across. I'm like, let's do a video on this one. So hit the like button again if you enjoyed this type of content, and hit the subscribe button. And I'll check you guys out later. Peace.